Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Before I start today's story, let me quickly introduce myself. My name is Alex, I'm 29 years old, and I work as a senior software engineer in Chicago. I've been living on my own for the last 7 years, paying my own rent, my own bills, and building a life from scratch. I don't come from money. My parents struggled for most of my childhood, and I was the first person in my family to actually make a decent income. I always tried to help when I could, but I never expected what happened last month. If you're new here, I share real stories about family, money, boundaries, and the moments that change everything. If you enjoy these kinds of honest stories, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next one. It really helps the channel grow. And drop a comment telling me where you're watching from. I read almost every single one. Alright, now let's get into the story. It started with a text from my mother on a Tuesday afternoon. We're going out this Saturday, family dinner. Don't make plans. That was it. No location, no time, just an order. I stared at the message for a few seconds. My first thought was that it would be something normal, maybe the Italian place we used to go to when I was a teenager, or the steakhouse near the mall that wasn't too expensive. I replied with a simple okay and went back to work. I had no idea that one text would end up costing me more than just money. Saturday came faster than I expected. I spent the morning catching up on some work, then got ready around 5. I wore a nice shirt, nothing too formal. I even stopped at a small bakery on the way and bought a box of my mother's favorite cookies. Old habits die hard. When I pulled up to the address my sister had sent, I felt my stomach drop. It wasn't the casual place I expected. It was a high-end steakhouse downtown, the kind of place with valet parking, dim lighting, and menus without prices. The kind of place where people celebrate promotions, anniversaries, or lottery wins, not a random family dinner on a Saturday. I handed my keys to the valet and walked inside. The hostess smiled and led me to a private corner table. My parents were already there. My older sister, Megan, was sitting next to them with her husband, Ryan. My younger brother, Jake, was on his phone. "There he is," my dad said, standing up to hug me. "Look at you, still looking sharp." I smiled and hugged everyone. The cookies went on the table. My mother barely glanced at them. The waiter arrived almost immediately. He was young, maybe mid-20s, with a polished smile. He handed out menus that felt heavier than most textbooks. I opened mine and immediately noticed something. There were no prices, not a single one. I looked up. My sister was already pointing at things on the menu and talking to the waiter like she owned the place. "We'll start with the seafood tower," she said. "The large one, and bring 2 orders of the bone marrow, also the truffle fries. Make it 3. My dad leaned back in his chair. "Get the dry-aged ribeye, the 40-ounce, and the wagyu for me and your mother." Megan kept going. 2 tomahawks as well, and the lobster tails, 4 of them. "Oh, and that Japanese, a 5 for Ryan. He deserves it." I sat there, frozen, watching the waiter write everything down. His pen moved fast, but his eyes kept flicking toward me like he already knew who was going to get the bill. I finally found my voice. "That's a lot of food for 6 people. Megan waved her hand. "It's fine, we're celebrating." "Celebrating what?" I asked. She smiled. "Life, family, you being successful, all of it." The way she said "you being successful" made the back of my neck tighten. The drinks came next. 3 bottles of wine, each one more expensive than the last. My father ordered a whiskey flight. Ryan ordered a cocktail that cost more than most people's lunch. Jake, who barely spoke the entire night, ordered a beer and kept scrolling on his phone. I ordered a single glass of water and a regular ribeye, the cheapest thing I could find that still looked decent. The food started arriving in waves. First the seafood tower, a mountain of oysters, crab legs, shrimp, and lobster. Then the bone marrow, sizzling and rich. Then the steaks, one after another. The tomahawks were so big they barely fit on the plates. The wagyu looked like it was melting under the lights. The lobster tails were massive. People at other tables were staring. My family ate like they hadn't seen food in weeks. Megan kept taking pictures. My mother kept saying how special everything tasted. My father raised his glass more than once and talked about how proud he was of how far we've come. I barely touched my plate. Every time the waiter came back to check on us, I felt my chest get tighter. I already knew where this was going. I had seen the signs before, the way they ordered without looking at me, the way they laughed a little too loudly, the way no one asked what I wanted. Still, a small part of me hoped I was wrong. The dinner lasted almost 3 hours. By the time the dessert menu came, the table was a battlefield of empty plates and wine bottles. Megan ordered 3 desserts for the table. My father ordered another round of whiskey. When the waiter finally brought the black folder, the entire table went quiet for the first time all night. My mother didn't even look at it. She just slid it across the table until it stopped in front of me. Then she looked me dead in the eyes and said, completely calm, "You're paying." I stared at the folder. "What?" Megan laughed softly. "Come on, Alex, you make the most money out of all of us. It's only fair." My father nodded like this had been decided days ago. "You've been doing so well, we figured you wouldn't mind treating the family." Ryan, my sister's husband, didn't even look up from his phone. Jake still hadn't said a word. I opened the folder. The total was $5,217, not including tip. I felt the heat rise in my face. My hands started shaking under the table. For a second, the old version of me, the one who always tried to keep the peace, considered just putting his card down and absorbing it. The version that still wanted his family to like him. The version that still believed blood was thicker than everything. Then I looked around the table. No one looked guilty. No one looked uncomfortable. They looked entitled. I closed the folder slowly. "No," I said. The word came out quieter than I expected, but it hit the table like a gunshot. Megan's smile faded. "What do you mean, no?" "I mean I'm not paying for this." I kept my voice steady. "I didn't order any of it. I didn't agree to any of it. And I am not your personal bank account." My mother's face hardened. "Don't be dramatic, Alex. It's just one dinner." "It's $5,000, I said. "And none of you asked me, not once." My father leaned forward. "We've always supported you. When you were in college, when you needed help. I paid you back for every cent." I cut him off. "With interest. And I never once expected you to cover a bill this size without asking." Megan's voice rose. "You're embarrassing us right now." "No," I said. "You embarrassed yourselves when you ordered like this and assumed I would just shut up and pay." I stood up. The waiter, who had been hovering nearby, looked like he wanted to disappear. I took out my card, paid only for my own steak and water, and left a tip for the staff. Then I looked at my family one last time. "Enjoy the rest of your night," I said, "but don't ever do this to me again." I walked out. The valet brought my car quickly. I drove home in complete silence. My phone started buzzing before I even left the parking lot. 12 missed calls from my mother, 7 from Megan, 3 from my father. A long paragraph from my sister calling me selfish, ungrateful, and dramatic. A voicemail from my dad saying I had changed and that money had made me cold. I didn't reply to any of them. That night, I sat on my couch staring at the wall for a long time. I kept replaying the moment my mother slid the bill toward me, the calmness in her voice, the way no one even hesitated. It wasn't really about the money. It was about the assumption. The quiet belief that because I had worked hard and built something, it automatically belonged to them. 3 days later, Megan showed up at my apartment unannounced. She stood in the hallway with her arms crossed. "Are you seriously still mad about dinner?" "I'm not mad about dinner," I said. "I'm done being used." She rolled her eyes. "Used? We just wanted a nice night. You're the only one who can afford places like that." "Then you should have asked." "We shouldn't have to ask. We're family." That sentence hung in the air between us. I looked at her for a long moment. Family doesn't order $5,000 of food and dump the bill on someone without a single conversation. Family doesn't treat success like a shared bank account. She left angry. The calls continued for another week. My mother tried guilt. My father tried disappointment. Megan tried anger. Jake, for the first time in years, sent a short text that simply said, "You did the right thing." I never responded to the others. 2 weeks after the dinner, I blocked my parents and my sister on everything. Not out of rage, out of clarity. I still think about that night sometimes, not with anger anymore, mostly with a strange kind of peace. Because that was the night I finally understood something important. You can love your family and still refuse to be their financial safety net. You can respect where you came from and still protect what you've built. And you can walk away from a table full of people who only see your wallet and still be the one who leaves with your dignity intact. That $5,217 steak dinner taught me more about boundaries than any book or therapist ever could. And if I'm being honest, it was the best money I never spent. If this story hit you in any way, please like the video and subscribe. It really helps. And tell me in the comments, have you ever had family treat your success like it belonged to them? I want to hear your stories. I'll see you in the next one. Take care of yourself.